Okay, so the next step to the process is called awakening neutrality. Now, why this is so key in the journey of shifting consciousness, as well as inside conscious media, inside what we're doing here at Collective Evolution, is because if we don't look at what we're seeing, understanding, happening in our world from a neutral lens, this means not getting caught up in politics, not getting caught up in all of the divides about race, religion, gender, all these sorts of things that the elite or that people are getting caught up in a big way in. We need to look beyond those things and start understanding what really is causing things to happen the way they are. Why are we actually doing this? And how can we move through the anger, through the frustration, through the judgment of what's taking place, and go a little deeper and see it from a neutral standpoint and allow ourselves to understand what aspects of our consciousness is creating this so that we can shift it. If we get caught up in just the emotional aspect of it, meaning if we go from, okay, we see something that's happening in our world, like for example, we learn about a lot of the elite pedophilia and child sex trafficking and stuff that's going on in our world. If we look at that, just judge it, just get angry, and just want to fight these elite and want to get mad at them constantly, and we don't ever process and move beyond those emotions, what happens is we get stuck in a fear state. Now, us being in a fear state is a very, very important aspect of how the elite keep their power over us. Because when we're in a fear state, when we're in a judgmental state, we're effectively taking our own individual power and we're giving it away to the people or the perpetrators. And we're saying, you have power over us. You control my emotional state. You control everything that's going on in my life. And I stay in this mode within myself where I'm constantly hop up on stress and chemicals in my body that are causing all, this adrenaline and everything to keep moving forward because I'm afraid and I'm judgmental and I'm angry. And what that does is it puts us in a state where stress chemicals are moving constantly. And when stress chemicals are moving constantly throughout our body, we begin to get stuck within a frame of mind where we identify solely with being a mind in this body, in this physical world. And when we're identified as that only, we are missing out on the aspects of who we truly are and understanding why we're truly here and how really we're just in a game of roles where we're learning from one another and we're choosing to evolve, right? That's really what we're here for. So when we stay in these states of fear, when we stay in these states of anger, we get locked up in a very limited version of reality. And this is a very, very important tool for the elite because what this does is it allows them to keep pushing and keep dividing and keep controlling and keep doing everything that they're doing because they only have power over us when we give our power up to them through our uncontrolled emotions or the fact that we're just locking ourselves into this state. So what this looks like is not saying, oh, we're going to move to neutrality where it's like, oh, well, we just don't care about anything. We sit back and it's like, the elite are doing that. Who cares? I'm neutral about it. It doesn't matter. No. This is the illusion. This is the illusory version of, oh yeah, that's what neutrality is. What neutrality is saying, all right, there's the elite. There's the cabal. They're doing what they're doing. It doesn't feel good that they're doing that. We can understand that. But if I stay in the emotion and I judge the crap out of them and I never choose to understand what role we all play in this, right? Because really what you have is, in a sense, you have the victimizer and you have the victim, in a sense, right? That's the role that's being played. Now, if you remain in a victim state within your life and whatever experience you might have, what you'll notice is that as a victim, you never are empowered because you're staying identified with being oppressed or with being down or with being suppressed. And the more we do that, the more we just want to fight and we want to, or we get into a mode where it's like, oh, I'm oppressed, I'm down, they're doing this to us. The world will never change. It's like, it always is the way it is. We're always down in this state. Whereas if we understand that the cabal is playing a role, and the role is actually there to challenge us, to find our true empowerment, and to evolve beyond the limited states of being in the limited states of emotion that we often lock ourselves into, and start actually saying, hey, you know what? We're capable of a lot more. And I see all they're doing is they're playing a role of saying, find your power. Find what it truly means to take self-responsibility, to look within yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to take control of my emotions. I'm going to understand what role I play in keeping our world the way it is and how I've limited my beliefs and how I've listened to all these things and I've confined myself to this small little space of what I think life is. And these people are helping us play that role. They're helping to keep us divided and show what happens when we get really disconnected from one another, right? And our job is to become aware, become self-aware, become self-responsible, and come back together and unite. And as we go through that, and as we take care and we authentically move through that process from a standpoint of neutrality, i.e. not judging it as, oh, this is so wrong and this is so bad, but saying, I see the role, and you know what? It has no power over me. And we truly begin to do that. What happens is we start creating a different frequency within ourselves, within the way we live. The stress chemicals are no longer there. We start moving back into a state of pure potential where anything is possible. And the need for their role begins to diminish. It's like suddenly, all of a sudden, it's like, you know how like you get over something in your life and suddenly nobody bugs you about it? And it's like, oh, these people used to bug me about this all the time. I was so self-conscious about something. Then I moved through being self-conscious about it and suddenly nobody said anything anymore. And the odd person that came along and did say something, you were like, hits you and falls off. It's the same with the elite. It's the same with the cabal. And the more we stayed identified as us versus them, they're the enemy, they're the bad thing, the more we stay confined into the level of consciousness that they're trying to keep us within. We simply have to see what they're doing as just a little obstacle we walk around. Okay, that's what they're doing. I see what's going on. I'm going to evolve beyond that. I'm going to evolve beyond the need for what they're doing. And the way through that is becoming self-responsible, emotionally intelligent, and really seeing the bigger picture aspect, the deeper conscious understanding of what their role is showing us and how we've disempowered ourselves and how we've given up our power to governance and to all these different things, and how we've become disconnected not only from each other, but from our true selves. And so in our second step of this protocol here, what we really like to focus on within our media is bringing that deeper conscious understanding from the neutral lens that does not get us caught up in politics, that does not get us caught up in all these racial divides and all these gender divides and all of these tools that the elite are using to get us locked in to just being a physical body in this world, and we're just caught up in that. We're challenging us to break that open, expand our consciousness, and see the world from a bigger state of consciousness, from a wider, expanded, more state of consciousness, so that we can understand what's really going on here. So awakening the neutrality of seeing the world in that way, not getting caught up in all this stuff, and seeing ourselves in that manner is absolutely a necessary part of this entire journey. And so when we think sometimes that we're really practicing like higher states of consciousness, or we're practicing, peace and all these sorts of things, but then something happens in the media, whether, someone's making fun of something, or all of a sudden we lose our shit, we go right back into this like, oh, judgmental, oh, this person, these people are terrible, toxic masculinity, and all these people are horrible, and Trump this, and blah, blah, and all these different things that happen. We're just getting sucked right back into the entire thing. Whereas if we practice neutrality, we see that stuff for what it is. People are disconnected, maybe people are angry, maybe that's just playing a role to allow us to see something. Maybe we see the levels of disconnection that we have within, aspects of our society, right? You see it for what it is based on each individual case, but you can't see it clearly until you get into that state of emotional intelligence, self-responsibility, and being truly connected to neutrality. So this is a huge step to this process.